To begin our crushed can project, we would need to first paint our can white. We're painting the can white so that we do not have all the distractions from the design on the can. We want to be able to focus on the highlights and the shadows on the can. You're going to crush your can after it's dry, and then we're going to begin to sketch it out. When you go to sketch it out, look at the outside perimeter and just start with contour lines, which is just the outline. I know you can't really see my sketch lines, but just wait a second and they'll start to show. You see how lightly I'm drawing? That way I can erase my lines. I also go over my lines again and correct where I made my mistakes. Now that I have the contour of my can drawn, it's time to start including some of the details on the inside. I'm going to simplify some of those dents and folds in my can into simple shapes and include them with just quick lines on the inside of the can. It is time to start defining my lines and adding some extra details on the inside. I'm going to be drawing over some of my lines darker and start adding value. At this point, you want to begin identifying your dark values and your light values, and then all your mid-range values. You want to build up your layers slowly so that you can make them darker where you need, but they don't get too dark too fast. It's always easier to make your values darker than it is lighter. You can only erase so much. Be careful as you're building up your layers so that you don't gouge your paper. If you use the side of your pencil, it is easier to get a nice smooth value. When it's time to blend the graphite, I'm going to use a tissue or a blender, not my finger. That way I don't get oils from my hands into my paper. Even if your hands don't look oily, there are some natural oils in everybody's hands that will transfer onto your paper. Careful not to overuse the blender. You don't want to make it to where you have a whole bunch of gray on your can. You want to keep some highlights and you want to keep your darks. To help with your highlights, use an eraser to take off some of the extra pencil, and it should give you a nice bright area. Use your eraser to create a nice sharp crease where your can is bent, and then also when you lay a dark value next to a light value, it will create more of an illusion of that crease. Continue building up your layers of value. You might need to put a piece of paper under your hand so that you don't smear the part you've already drawn. You always want to make sure you have good craftsmanship and keep your paper nice and clean. To create a background for this piece, I'm grabbing a piece of watercolor paper. I'm going to use the wet on wet technique and just drip on some watercolor and let it dry. I'm carefully cutting out my can. Do not rush this process. You want to make sure that you do not cut off your actual can and you're only cutting the paper around your can. Flip it over onto a scrap paper and apply a nice layer of glue stick on there. Make sure you get it all over it. And then situate it on top of the watercolor paper. Make sure you lay it flat and press down firmly. Then use a 4B or 6B pencil and create a shadow onto the watercolor paper.